On the 4th of July, we will have a general election. If you belong to a minority, if you're black, brown, Jewish, Muslim, Chinese, GRT, or transgender, for example, you're probably already aware that your rights and securities have been chipped away over the past decade. For most people, voting will be the only way to register their satisfaction with the way the world is run. Access to our democratic institutions is therefore more important than ever. But in 2022, the Conservative government passed a new law, the Elections Act 2022. That law brought in the requirement for voter ID for the first time in this country. That means that in the upcoming general election, you will need photographic identification to vote. You won't be allowed to vote without it. As a concept, voter ID is fundamentally discriminatory. It exists to create an order in which some people have a vote and some do not. So it's the law that's wrong. But for now, it's important that everyone who wants to vote can vote. There are two groups of people at particular risk. First, people who may not have valid ID. We know the Windrush scandal arose from the lack or loss of formal ID documents. Many Windrush victims, particularly the oldest, have just never had a reason to apply for a passport. And it may be many years since they last had to renew a driver's license. Firstly, you can vote using expired photographic ID. The rule is that your ID has to match your face in a common sense way. It's surprisingly hard to find concrete rules on what looking like you in a common sense way actually means. But, for example, when you apply for a passport, you need a counter-signatory to certify that the photo is a genuine likeness of you. So, if you're in doubt, ask someone. If there has been a significant change to how you look from the time you last updated the photo ID you're using, you might run into a problem. This may apply to trans people in addition to Windrush victims, migrants, asylum seekers, or any other group that has been persecuted by the Home Office over status or documents. Trans people who want to withhold their gender might need an alternative, as almost all of the most common accepted forms of ID include a reference to gender. So, if you need to apply for voter ID right now, how do you get it? If you think what I've said applies to you and you've already registered to vote, you need to apply for a voter authority certificate. You do need to have registered to vote already. The deadline for this is 5 p.m. on the 26th of June. That's next Wednesday. There's a link to the gov.uk portal where you can apply to do this below. You'll need a recent passport photo and your national insurance number. There are also links below this to the gov.uk page where you will find a full list of the different forms of ID accepted. If you're in any doubt at all, please check the list now. If you're from a minority group, you should think about whether there's any prospect of your ID being challenged. If you're still in any doubt, you need help, or you care for someone who needs help, contact us by DM or send an email to contact@windrushlives.com.